Okay, so how many hours should you study every day as you study for the UCAT? Well, look, the honest answer is that with UCAT, intensity matters. It matters more than duration, and duration is important as well. And that's because the UCAT is a test of aptitude, speed and pattern recognition, rather than just knowledge. So whereas knowledge you can just learn, this is also about application, all right? And your brain has what we call a saturation point. Beyond a few hours a day, 3 or 4 hours a day, your accuracy levels will drop. And even those 3-4 hours, however many hours you do, you're gonna have to break it down into bite-sized chunks, like 20-minute sessions with breaks in between, breaks every hour or so, because your brain is not gonna take brain dumps for 3-4 hours at a time. It's just not geared, it's just not wired to do that. Don't do it, you're not gonna succeed. And what you want to do is develop those good habits of learning over a longer period of time. If you read the UCAT sources, they themselves say about an hour a day. I think that's a load of nonsense. If you look at their own data around people who do well and what they say about how many hours they spend, you find that actually many students themselves will confirm that they do approximately 25 to 30 hours of preparation a week in some cases, which sounds a bit extreme, but for the average student that comes to my courses, I say, look, you really need an 8-week period of study. Maybe 6 weeks you'll get away with, but below 6 weeks you're kind of cramming a lot. It gets difficult. It's not impossible, but it's difficult. The sweet spot is, in my opinion, 8 to 10 weeks. 10 is best, 8 is okay. Any less than that, I think it becomes challenging. All right. And I think it's important you structure those 8 weeks, 10 weeks properly. Now, what I'd say is that in the first couple of weeks, say week 1 and 2, I would focus on the question itself and not time yourself, because it's quality. You want to look at questions, understand logics, understand strategies, and give that the precedence. So keywording around verbal reasoning, syllogisms around decision making, those type of things, focus on that. Week, say 3 to 5, the next block, if you like, that's when you need to kind of develop more high intensity working, timed sets, so look at your timing a bit more. And then in kind of the week 6 to 8, at that time, give more focus on full length mock, so that you're doing the marathons, if you like, the 2-hour sessions. Now, what you want to do is the day you want to break it up, and the week you want to break it up. In a week, we know we've got 7 days. I say to my students, leave a day for complete rest. 1 day of the week you need to rest completely. That leaves you 6 days. In those 6 days, remember there's 4 sections. It might be an idea that you allocate a section per day. So day 1, decision making, day 2, verbal reasoning, day 3, quantitative reasoning, and so forth. That takes up 4 days. On the 5th day, you might want to kind of do past papers, or if you've not reached those weeks, you might want to spend time on difficult areas that you struggle, all right? The 6th day, you might even want to do peer learning, so where you're discussing difficult questions with colleagues, with other students in your 6th form in your college, and you're working as a group. So break your week down in an organized fashion and make sure there's rest times built in. So when you finish in a day, that week off in the week where you go out, you do things, you de-stress, every day you have like 15, 20, 30 minutes of exercise built in, meal times, break times, and so forth. As I've said before in previous videos, try not to be that night owl, because we all know that at night you're less likely to absorb everything you learn. So try to be early larks, work in the morning. That's when your brain is most alive and kicking, and you'll absorb a lot more. So perhaps before school, before college, try to do some work, perhaps an hour or 2, and then after school, after college, once you've done your homework and assignments, etc., perhaps do another hour or 2. I also say think about building it up. So in the first couple of weeks, you might say, right, I'll do a couple of hours a day, one in the morning, one in the evening, perhaps do an extra couple of hours on a Saturday and a Sunday, if those are work days. Remember that off day, you need to have a break day as well. In the middle of your training, i.e. weeks 3, 4, perhaps up it to 2 to 3 hours, and then towards the end of your revision cycle, weeks 5, 6, 8, 7, 8, towards the end of your revision timetable, you might want to up it to about 4 hours a day, perhaps even longer in the weekends, so that you're working at a more intense pace. You're kind of testing yourself at a higher level. Remember, if your exams are coming up in year 12, you really need to give them priority, because remember, those are then being used for your expected grades, to confirm your expected grades, and for your teacher to do your references. So you need to focus on that. So I'd say, whilst you book your exam, book your test in May, leave it to one side until you've done your year 12 exams. Do them well, work hard at them. Once they're done, kind of end of May, early June, give yourself about a week's rest. Completely switch off, relax, enjoy, time out, and then kick off with UCAT prep, second, third week of June. That still leaves you 2 weeks in June, 4 weeks in July, that's 6 weeks, and then another, say, 3 or 4 weeks in August. If you sit your test end of August, you can see how you can easily do it 8 weeks, if not 10. Some of you, for whatever reason, might choose to sit it in September because you're away in August or July in the summer holidays with your families perhaps, and you can't incorporate your revision whilst you're away. We went away, the summer gone, and my daughter still managed to prepare for her UCAT while we were away. She was just kind of disciplined about waking up in the morning and working in her room. And then evening when we got back, rather than kind of staying up with us, she would disappear and do her work. So it's all about discipline. So I'm not saying it precludes you from family holidays and other commitments over the summer. You can do. It's just about being organized. Make sure you think about things like, break and meal times, after school sessions, homework and so forth. Before bed, make sure you get off screens and work at least an hour before, so you can kind of de-stress and cool your brain before you go to sleep, and try and get some deep sleep then. Make sure towards the end of your revision period you're doing lots of mock 2-hour sessions, so that your brain is kind of geared up to deal with the intensity of a UCAT test. The biggest mistake students are making is doing, let's say, 100 questions, seeing scores of 60% and moving immediately to the next 100 questions. This isn't, right. This is a waste of time. Remember the 1-to-1 rule, which is for every hour you spend answering questions, you must spend an hour reviewing the ones you got wrong. All right. Otherwise, you'll just keep on repeating the same mistakes. Ask yourself, did I get this wrong because of an error in my logic, or because I ran out of time? Is there something I ignored about strategy here? Write down the mistake you've made and make sure you do not repeat it again. Know when to stop as well. If your scores start to plateau or stop, all right, or drops rather, after several days of heavy study, it's probably because you're experiencing burnout and you're tired. All right, so remember the 3-day rule, which is if you are consistently performing worse than average, take 3 full days off. Okay, your brain needs to consolidate. It needs to kind of relax a bit. You're just working it too much. All right, you need to then come back and then have another go and see how you do. All right. Have a think about those pointers I've given you. Hopefully they'll be of use to you, and I think you'll do great. All the best.